here.
We're here.
Mommy's with the maggots.
Mommy's
because
with the maggots now.
We are talking about Evil Dead Rise, the 5th entry in the Evil Dead franchise, directed and written by Lee Cronin. Full spoilers, guys. You know the drill at this point, but hey, full spoilers. We're going to spoil every little bit about this movie, so if you have not seen it if you've not seen it yet, or again, hightail it to your nearest theater, pause this, skip over, whatever you can do to not spoil this movie, or do. It's really your life. I don't really care.
Sure.
Full spoilers. You have been warned. What do we think about this movie? Ben. Oh, shit.
Oh, it was mid. So before I give a review, I just want to say that this movie was originally a streaming-only movie. And the budget for this movie is around $15-20 million. It's already made, like, triple that at the box office. Because it was low budget and it's awesome and people are responding to it. So, like, yo, man, put movies out in theaters. People will see it if it's good.
I didn't put this in the news. Actually, I forgot. But David Zaslav said that Warner Brothers is no longer interested in making streaming movies.
Yeah, that's...
Interesting.
It's dumb. Like, smaller movies, like smaller streaming movies should be allowed to exist. Like, you don't have to make Evil Dead a streaming movie, but smaller movies should be allowed to exist too. Like, Disney Plus is doing it. Why can't you do it? Anyway, Evil Dead Rise, y'all. I love it. I love it. I love it. I have basically no complaints. I love it. That's my review. Let's end the show. I'm just kidding. It's so crazy that we're in the age of legacy sequels, remakes, reboots, but we're particularly, like, blessed because we're getting Scream, we're getting Evil Dead, we're getting all of these legacy, we're getting so many things and they're good. Evil Dead might be the best horror franchise because there is not a single bad one. There's not even a single good one. There's only great Evil Dead movies. It's a great time to be a horror fan. I'm so happy I got to see this in the theater. It was a smaller theater, but the guy behind me was making a lot of funny noises, so I was happy.
Sparkz?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I had a great time. Very happy. Yeah.
Big spoilers, Mag. Absolutely.
Mag
Hell
bringing
yeah.
up that surprise that kids can now die in this universe. Yes, absolutely. That was a big part of it.
Big stakes. Big stakes.
No, I really enjoyed this. I thought they did a really great job. Just a really great job all around with all of it.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So I didn't know you were done. You weren't done. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I really loved it. I loved all the Evil Dead films. So there's no surprise here. I think it's really fun. Fun's not really the right word. Fun in its own way.
It's fun. It's fun if you like it.
Yeah. I'm very happy with it. I can't wait to go through it. So, do we want to read what Ben wrote now?
Let's just do it at the end.
Okay, we'll do it.
Because he gives a rating and everything, so let's just do it all together at the end.
So let's get into it. Where do we want to start?
We start at the beginning and the end.
Oh yeah,
the cabin.
Yeah. Because what an interesting way to start and end your movie with a completely different story.
I was actually really pleased with that, considering like how much that footage was featured in the trailers, and I was constantly trying to figure out like how is this connected to the thing, and I like that at the beginning of the movie. It's like, really don't worry about it.
I 100% thought that like our main girl, she's the one who got her scalp ripped because she has long black hair, so I'm like, I kind of know what happens to all these characters, and like, no, you don't.
I didn't.
No, you don't.
Right? Yeah, I didn't think that. When did you think that? Like when we first started, you thought that she was that she was going to be our main girl, like before she got her scalp ripped, and
go
back with her and everything.
Yeah.
Right. I get that. I was kind of wondering if that was the case. Like I was like, but I thought those were different people from all the trailers and everything.
I get
but then yeah, you get into the film, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, just don't even worry about the cabin. Don't even worry about the lake. Don't even think like it's just the opener, and it's happening later. And
One
you'll
day
find out how
earlier.
Yeah.
I was blown away when we did those when we cut to our main girl. And I was like, it was like couple months, and it was like one day earlier. I was like, oh shit! Shit's about to get really messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good way to like really throw you off, and especially for a horror movie to just be kind of like basically putting your like end credits at your beginning, and just being like, oh, I'm disoriented already.
I really love the callback to her being able to read the text as the girl is reading it in her mind, and she's like narrating what she's reading.
Sure.
I love how that shot where we're getting each word almost in these big like bubble letters. I really liked the opening. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, once the movie started and I saw what was happening, I'm like, okay, so like, is this the actual movie? And like, I was so confused because like it lasted longer than I thought, that opening with those characters. And I'm like, then once the scalp rips, I'm like, okay, no, I get it. Okay, all right, this is a prelude. I thought it was going to be more connected. I thought it was going to be, like somebody finds something there and brings it home, but it's the reverse of that. They bring the dead to the cabin.
It's really smart because like horror movies usually need and are usually correct to have like that punchy opener, something that like kicks the action off before you settle in with some characters. So that's usually where you get some fodder that dies.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
like there's no logical way for our family that we follow in this film to have that happen before, like with the story they're telling us.
Yeah.
So there's no way for those things to connect. So it's actually really smart to like just take what would be the like walk out of the theater moment. Oh, move that to the beginning.
Yeah. An interview with the director, this Lee Cronin dude, he is such a cool dude. This Irish like independent filmmaker. He's made a bunch of short films. He did a movie called A Hole in the Ground a couple years ago. It's Sundance and won a bunch of awards. He's now doing Evil Dead. This low budget ass movie looks so good. This is such a sharp looking movie. For the video people, the background of the girl rising from the water and the Evil Dead rising up is legitimately like one of my favorite title cards I've ever seen. And the music rising and it just cuts away. Then it's just a completely new scene, and I'm like, cool. Just cool. If we don't come back to this, I'll be okay, because I know it'll everything will make sense. Real quick, on the interview front, he mentioned that there's like 4 or 5 different versions of a sequel that he's already like he has in his brain. One of them is like, yeah, I want to do the cabin thing because like, what happens after that cabin? What happens to the Airbnb people who show up there 2 days later? Like, there are so many ideas for sequels, and like, it's just like the Evil Dead is out in the world now. And that is what I wanted this movie to be. The Evil Dead is in the world, as opposed to just a singular location. And that's really scary.
Yeah. So much. I really think this is incredibly inventive. I had this moment in the movie when I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know, because of the remake and the things like that, it'd be interesting to know how this Necronomicon connects to all of them. And then like, not long after I was thinking about this, they're like, this is one of 3 of the Necronomicon. I was like, you did it. You did it.
Yeah, because like each movie has like its own version or whatever. I love that this one we get like a whole ass story about about a priest, and like the story there is that like, because Lee Cronin said in interviews, like one of the sequel ideas is actually the prequel about that one priest, and he had to kill 100 of his fellow priests in like a cathedral. And I'm like,
the shit out of that.
That sounds insane.
Right.
Bruce Campbell was one of the voices in that tape too.
That's awesome.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because what's incredible is that Lee Cronin himself is like, is that Ash? It could be Ash. And I'm like, I'd watch that.
Yeah. I love, I guess I love the listening of the tapes. I love the modern version of it. I love the zoom in of the speakers going, "Conduct." Like, it's just so spooky. I just love this movie. Everything I'm going to say is just, I love it.
I really like how they use the Necronomicon. Those are kind of like focusing on the Necronomicon, how it's how it flips to the page of whatever demon we're about to meet. Like when the mom is getting possessed, it flips to this page, and then when the daughter gets possessed, it flips to a different page, and then when they're morphing, it flips to the other page.
Right.
I think that's a really cool device they used.
Absolutely.
Much to Mag's point, still happy they have Raimi's camera styles of the angles and close-up shots of the camera shaking. Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite things was the opening of the film that was the drone and the fake out of like what you anticipate to be the evil moving, and it was a drone camera.
Oh, it's so
I thought
good.
that was very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job. They do a great job of a lot of the close-ups and tilting and how they do everything that they do to still give it the vibe of like, you know what this is, this is the Deadites, this is Evil Dead.
The mom spends a portion of the movie outside, and there's the eye hole camera view that we spent a lot of time in, that is such a scary viewpoint, because it's not just the mom being really creepy. You see all the people in the apartments just like getting murdered on the sides and running away, and you just hear the carnage. You don't see the carnage. Oh God, seeing in horror movie, like hearing it and not seeing it is so. It's the Jaws, baby. It's so good.
I really like how this movie sets up and pays off. Basically everything it sets up in the first act is paid off in the third act.
The scissors.
The scissors, the wood chipper, the
Staffany.
Staffany.
A weird little girl.
I found that really effective, and it's a simple narrative tool, but it pays off in really interesting ways and really big ways when you're doing a horror movie. I'm really appreciative exists.
I think especially because like I don't think any of them felt obvious.
No.
Like you were like, this is the moment when we use the scissors. This is the moment where she uses Staffany. Yeah. Like you weren't anticipating it until like seconds before it happens.
The scissors one specifically, it's like, that's a good Chekhov scissor. Because I completely forgot she threw those scissors away. I completely forgot. Love it.
And the even the bathtub water, like there's a lot of like setup and payoff that really effectively works in the movie. The point that I wanted to make though about that is lost now.
Lost, created by David Lindelof and J.J. Abrams. Music by Michael Giacchino.
Oh, the peephole moments are really great, especially when she's terrorizing the hallway residents, and yes. I really love that moment, as obviously these characters were introduced as cannon fodder, and I knew it immediately. But I didn't expect... You never expect children to die. And what I think is such an effective scare is when the one guy loses his eye, it chokes the one kid's death, and then in the people you see the one kid run away and they get thrown back into the wall with no arms, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that eyeball sequence is like straight out of From Hell. Like there's like in various other horror movies, but like a Sam Raimi movie where the evil witch like spits an eye out and it lands in her mouth. I love that. This movie is so violent and it's so gory and it looks so good and there's so much blood. That blood elevator. Watching a bunch of interviews with those actors, they hated it. It was so sticky. It was all old because they had to import that blood because they were in New Zealand or something filming the movie, and like they had to use old blood so it smelled bad, and they were just covered in it for weeks. I'm like, they hated doing it, but it looks really good, and that's what's important.
I love the always effective for me.
Good Shining reference, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think much to your point, Brandon, of what you were bringing up, that the moment all the neighbors are there, I'm like, yeah, these are all the people that died. But I did think that they're all the people that die throughout the film so that we don't kill the kids.
Yes.
Like killing the kids, like taking the two older kids out, I was like, God, I just didn't think this is where we were going. So like when we cut back to Bridget and she's up on the counter and everything, I'm like, oh, she's gone. No way.
She's got to eat
like
that glass.
Before that, I thought she was gonna like get the evil out of her somehow.
Yes.
But like, nah, she's done.
Because we definitely see in the trailer that she's dead-eyed. So I also assumed she was gonna get saved. No, she gets burned on fire.
And yeah, you get this impression like, oh, well, maybe she has to save the kids but she can't save the mom, and that's how this ends. But and even up until they all morphed, I was like, oh, they can still save the kids, yeah. But then they all morphed, and I was like, oh no, they all die.
Yeah. Once Danny starts getting like stabbed, I'm like, oh, that's murder.
Right.
Oh no, nobody is safe in this movie.
What great imagery too! Like you just see the two kids walking in the hallway, and then the kid under the sheet just hobbles.
Oh my god!
Terrifying.
The first one's a little more subtle than the second one. But like, man, that is some good. It's also really funny. Man, this movie's also like, it's not Evil Dead 2 funny, but like it is just like Evil Dead. Like it's got comedy chops to it. There's certainly like really funny scenes.
Yeah.
Like great physical comedy horror stuff happening. The monster, the big family monster, it's called the Marauder, by the way. The Marauder. That's a
woman who plays the mom, who also the main deadite.
Elisa Sutherland.
Oh yeah.
Elisa Sutherland, thank you. Is incredible. as this Deadite. Probably my favorite Deadite performance.
Yeah.
Of the limited what we've had.
Yeah.
But I adored this Deadite. We spent so much time with her too.
Yeah.
She's a much more prevalent threat than we've seen before. Except the exception only being maybe Ash's sister in the first film. Mm-hmm. And I really thought she was super effective. And there's one moment in The People, again, the People stuff is all great. I have nothing but great things to say about anything in The People. But the daughter, the little girl, looks through the peephole and doesn't say anything. And then the Deadite gets floats up. I was like, oh, there you are.
Right.
I just got chills.
I love Deadites. Like they are pure just chaos. Like I love that. Like
so nasty.
They're just so nasty, and they will do anything. They will say anything to get your soul.
And they have such a good time.
Yeah.
Doing everything they do.
Yeah. And the worst thing is like they have all the memories and all the love that they experience like with that other person. So like they can use that against you. And like, oh, it's nothing a big kiss from mommy.
There's something about it that feels just so much more sinister than your typical like possession in other films.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think they bring that across really well here. It feels very like nasty and mean and like chaotic and like they are reveling in it.
Yeah.
As they do it. I really find it effective. I will say, like, just because we're talking about Alyssa Sutherland's performance as Ellie, I really like. She gets a moment that most don't in Evil Dead stuff, which is that she has like the glimmer of her last like moment to her sister, where she says, "It's in me. Don't let it take my babies."
Yeah,
and then she effectively dies.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really cool. That she got to have that last breath, and then everything after that is like the thing just being blatantly like, yeah, your mom's gone.
I love, and it's not like a big deal, I think to most folk, but like this is a movie where our two leads are like cool, young, alternative women.
Right.
And the main Deadite, she is a mother who's covered in tattoos, you know, wearing booty shorts. Like she's a cool young mom.
Right.
And that's just a really cool thing to see. Like I know it's a silly thing, but like tattoo representation is not a real thing I care about. But just seeing regular people have tattoos and like people have tattoos. Like they being in movies, that is just a cool thing to see. And having what is the sister's name? The hero sister's name?
Her character name is Beth. She's Beth. Lily Sullivan.
Lily Sullivan. These are both Australian actresses. They're both fantastic. She being like this punk rock girl, like maybe becoming a mother, goes to go see her sister who's a mother, and then experiences all this stuff which turns her into a mother. I think all that, like, again, this is a tight movie. You know, it's short. It's less than 2 hours. Like, for an Evil Dead movie, like, this has more story than I ever needed.
Right.
And, like, the same thing with Evil Dead 2013. Like, that's a movie about, like, a bunch of characters, like, coming together. Like, they're friends. Like, the first Evil Dead, like, I think those characters are fine. It's honestly not why I watched that first movie.
Right.
But, like, this new one, like, I care about these characters. And I'm only with Elle for 10 minutes before she turns evil. Mm-hmm. But, like, that's all I needed to see, like, yo, she's cool. She's a great mom. She's funny. She cares about her sister. That's all I needed.
One of the things I said in the beginning of the review is that I was really shocked when it did the one day earlier kind of flashback and sets up the movie. Because I was concerned. I was like, oh, we're probably not really concerned. I didn't really expect to get time with these characters before they become dead. I was like, not really. And like, oh, we're not going to get a lot of time with these characters before everything starts happening. But I think the stuff they've written is great and creates a much more meaningful connection. At least I felt to me and the mom, Alicia Sutherland. Every character, quite frankly, when they get turned, I am upset because I think they're all well-written characters that I really wanted to see make it to the end of this movie.
Yeah, for sure. They're very good at being like, they feel like real people. They feel like they're speaking to the times and being representative. I think that part of it is that like you get enough flavor from all of the characters to understand who they are and how their personality is and how the family unit feels functionally real and tangible in a way. And it's much to Mag's point, like we've never had an Evil Dead franchise take out children, let alone a family. Like, and so it's a whole different kind of spin on what's going on. like this is essentially your conventional like possession story is like a family in a home kind of getting attacked and hit with the demonic possession, but like it goes so much further south than it usually would in those stories. I think like one of my only kind of like minor knocks against it is like I feel like I get just a tad little less time with them as a family unit with the mom aside than I wish I did. Particularly, I guess, with Bridget. I think Bridget just gets out of the picture a little early. I wish she'd stuck around just a little longer as herself.
Sure.
I feel like we could have used the neighbors to buffer a little bit of that room. Just a smidge.
Sure.
But that's like, it's more just a desire of wanting to engage with the characters more than it is any like particular detriment of the film.
I doubt they're gonna tear down or close the building after what happened. Man, if you find a bunch of dead people in a building, like I think I would demolish it. I don't know.
They were demolishing it anyway.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it's going down in a.
Yeah, the same what he's saying. Yeah. It's funny that like one of the biggest evils of all time was like living under like a bank vault in California. It's just really funny.
Yeah,
I love it.
The vault bit is a little schlocky, but I'm like, whatever. It's fine. I do think Danny gets to be down there for an exceptionally weird amount of time without the sisters like coming to be like, "Yo, Danny," or like come down there themselves.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Oh, you know what's so interesting is I never felt this in an Evil Dead movie before because I know the rules of Evil Dead. Nothing weird happens until someone reads from the book. But the vault scene was actually really tense for me. Like everything post earthquake was kind of on the edge of my seat. Like, oh my goodness, are there Deadites already out there? Like I started to get worried that I wasn't prepared for the spookiness to happen.
It does feel like they're trying to say, and I think it maybe could have been conveyed better if they were trying to say this, that the book is calling out to Danny.
Yes.
And like, if that is the case, I kind of wish we got some kind of something borderline on the level of the Jumanji drums. Danny. calling to like something to tell the audience he is directly being called to, because otherwise it other than like the crack leading to the vault being open and everything, it is like Danny just happens to grab the right box to open up the notes from the priest.
It wasn't calling
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, we could have had just a little teeny tiny like
little push. Yeah.
Push of this is why I'll look in this particular box and nowhere else, because he's like looking for something valuable.
Some great comedy moments that I'll remember after Elle dies and she's laying in bed and they go to close her eyes, they just pop right back open, and that made me giggle. That happens a couple times. I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
There's a scene, I don't remember where it happens, but like either she hits the Deadite or something happens, then it looks at her, and then she just like crashes through through a wall or something. That's just a good physical comedy.
That was when she gets into the Deadite gets into the building when she's listening to on her headphones, and you can see her like creepy crawly down the wall.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
And then the reflection. Yeah, you're right. Like she first hits the Deadite, and then the next cut is she's blown through the doors.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, she looks so gnarly and good in her makeup. I love when she puts her finger on the record player and unhinges her jaw. Essentially, and just like lets it blast out of her.
Love it.
Like Ryan said, just like the shots on how they handle the sound permeating over them is really great.
And again, I love that this movie, like, they didn't feel the need to make this, $100 million giant demonic movie, because that doesn't make sense. Like, but at the same time, like, this is a low budget movie, but it expands the world for me indefinitely in big ways. Where like we know multiple books exist. Who's writing these books? Why are these priests continuing to read these books? Why do we keep doing this to ourselves, decade after decade?
Because you brought that up, I just want to add real quickly that I think that the record players are. We've already talked about. I think the record player moment is really good, but I also really like using them as an exposition dump. not just to read the book, but like we get a lot of exposition from that, and it all is really cool and interesting and kind of spooky. Like you're getting really tense as you're hearing he's not reading from the book yet. He's just talking about his day, and you feel really tense as it's booming over the loudspeaker over this family.
Yeah, for sure.
Mag brings up we never knew, but can tell that the cat did make it or not. Oh yeah, what's your cat take? You think the cat got eaten? I think the cat got eaten.
I think the cat's fine.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Go either way. Maybe it's Schrodinger's dead-eyed cat.
I'm just saying, if I for a second thought I was going to see a little dead-eyed kitty cat, and I was really excited. Just a little bit.
I definitely thought it was possible for a second that I'm like, man, is this movie going to be just like super bleak? And I thought we were going to lose Cassie too.
Oh, sure.
Once she got pulled back
near the
after
end,
they cleared the fence.
Yeah, same.
I thought like Cassie might be done, and I'm like, yo, are we like losing all the kids?
I had a similar thought when they're pushing the creature into the wood chipper, and they're getting and the blood is pouring on Cassie. And we had throughout it was implied that the blood is what's doing it. That you put deadite blood in you and you become a deadite. That's when the mom put the needle to her head and then put it in her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So I thought that when all that blood was going down on Cassie, I was like, oh no.
Oh, she's gonna turn or something. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, like that was gonna be the end.
The
was that she was going to turn, and that was gonna be like the last like really bleak hammer to go home with.
The final shot would be Cassie like lunging at the camera towards Beth or something.
Like that.
Sure, yeah. Man, again, like I think this movie, I think it's really tight. Again, like I like that you know, like it moves fast paced. You know, we get to know the characters as much as we need to, and then it's just like carnage, and we kind of slow down and talk for a bit, and then it's just more carnage, and it's more carnage, and then we go downstairs, and it's just red and blood. Chainsaws.
I really like the use of the elevator throughout the film, of just like kind of sitting there, just dunk.
Oh God!
Yes. I think it's very effective in the way that they utilized it, and that it's like specifically from the key strap there. Also, I thought they did a really good job of like homaging the way the Deadites get at a person, still being tied to this idea of like restraining them to get at them. This like the tree vines grabbing her is the wires in the elevator.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a good like little like visual nod motif, without going completely to recreating the moment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's a few. I think there's 3 times they say iconic lines from the movie. From the original movies, Dead by Dawn.
Yeah.
I'll swallow your soul.
That's a great moment. Like Dead by Dawn is so that whole bit has so much energy of like the cabin turning against Ash and Evil Dead 2. I thought they did a great job capturing that. With them all doing the Dead by Dawn.
Yeah, I think Brian's already said I'll swallow your soul, but yeah, I think the Dead by Dawn moment is really incredible, like spine-chillingly horrifying. I think they really picked the right moment to bring in that line. It was perfect.
Yeah.
The final chainsaw bit, it's obviously very grotesque and like murdering a bunch of people, but like the final scene where like he looks at like she looks at her sister for like the last time, and like drives a chainsaw in her face.
Right.
Like man.
As Mag said, come get some.
Come get some. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come get some. Yeah. That one might have been the clunkiest. I still appreciated it.
I think it's fine. It didn't bother me. There was also like they didn't say it the same way, but the priest does talk about going to the woodshed. To get stuff he needs, and I thought like, okay.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Just man, I'm just so thrilled. Again, like Scream 6. You know, we had Scream 5, but Scream 6 this year. New Evil Dead movie. Like, I could have been watching this on my TV at home, and I'm just so thrilled that I got to see it in theaters, and it's doing extremely well. I don't need like an Evil Dead movie every year, but like I will take an Evil Dead every couple of years. Like if you just want to give me another one of these every couple of years, there's no reason not to. Just do a Prey with Evil Dead. Just like just be creative with it.
Sure.
And with someone like Lee Cronin, like this dude is so talented, and if this is what he can do with like a low ass budget movie, I am so excited for what this dude can do like in the future. I think he's mad talented.
The TV series didn't exist, I'd say that you can pair up the three protagonists.
Yeah.
Ash, Mia, and Beth.
Beth. Yeah.
Beth.
Yeah. And again, like
to fight a Deadite.
So here's the thing: you still could. Bruce Campbell said he doesn't want to play Ash again, which is fine. But you still technically can tie it into Ash if you want to believe a popular Evil Dead fan theory, which is that Mia and Beth's now stories exist in the world of Evil Dead 2 before Ash went back and then came back from Army of Darkness. So the world he left behind that didn't get changed by his events being through Army of Darkness.
We got timeline stuff now.
Oh, I don't know. I like the idea that he accidentally got himself trapped in the 20s for some reason.
I mean, so it's a world where Ash was sucked into the void that isn't the one that comes into Army of Darkness and Ash versus Evil Dead, all that stuff.
I get it. So that's just, I don't know if I want that in my Evil Dead movie.
Yeah, just don't make it complicated. Just leave Ash out of it. Just bring back a.
Well, in that same way you would, right? Because like Ash got sucked through the void, and that's the end of his story in that world. Mm-hmm. And so then you have Mia and Beth
and Javi and Kelly
having their story that's now taking place in that world post a world where Ash was taken away.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying would be obviously Ash vs. the Evil Dead would be in the parallel timeline,
right? Yeah.
I just say it all exists in the one timeline. I'm good.
Yeah.
Ben's thoughts.
I'm
curious.
It was fun seeing with this Ben. I didn't sit next to him, so I didn't get all the juicy jump scares or faces he was making, but he seemed to have a good time. Ooh, it's longer than I thought it'd be. Hell yeah.
From Ben, this movie made me uncomfortable, but it was a very well done horror film. High marks to the effects, makeup, and sound design teams where they knocked it out of the park. The story is simple, where you feel for the characters and want them to survive. Makes it extra heartbreaking when characters don't, and I love how the movie makes it clear that no one was truly safe from harm. The chainsaw and shotgun are good, subtle homages to the older films. Teaches the lesson to not open creepy stone slabs that were sealed away in a vault with a bunch of crosses over it.
It's true.
If I see this movie again, it's during the day with the lights on. My energy bill be damned. 9 out of 10.
Ouch.
9 out of 10? Hell yeah, Ben. Love it.
9 out of 10. Wow.
What was real quick when we saw it with him? He's like, yeah, it made me feel awful, and I'm like, yeah, that's what they
made me really uncomfortable.
That's what horror movies do. He's like, that's what it's always like. I'm like, yeah, that's what horror movies are, bro. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's gonna get to Army of Darkness and be like so tense and like, oh, thank God.
As the skeleton plays his flute.
Army of Darkness is going to be like this nice little treat in the midst of his franchise watching.
The scariest thing about that movie is how funny it is.
Yeah. Or that a skeleton can play a flute without any air actually passing from lungs.
It's magic.
I still watch the Run for Your Lives!
Oh, we're gonna die! Oh, yeah.
All right. I agree. 9 out of 10 for me. I think this is great. I'm so happy to have another Evil Dead film and another good one at that.
Mm-hmm.
You keep knocking them out of the park. There's no bad Evil Dead movie. Yeah, that's. Otherwise, I'd just say how much I like it more. So, Sparkz or Ryan?
I so desperately want because there will be another one of these. I so desperately want it to be the 1 versus 100 Priest versus Deadites movie. I think that just sounds incredible. I will give this a 9.5. I think it's awesome. I think it's a perfect Evil Dead movie. Like, it is like, again, like, what a beautiful franchise where like this is a different version of the same thing you love. It's just fantastic. Love it.
Yeah, I think that this movie has benefited from a tight script, very, very good filmmaking, knowing exactly what they're doing, and most importantly, incredible performances from actors that make these characters really pop off the screen and feel real. I think that like this movie kind of lives and dies ultimately on the cast, and the cast is very good. I can't overstate that enough. I think like the entire family unit is really, really good. They all work so well together, and if you didn't care about all of them, I don't think it would be as effective. But like even Danny's not like a shit, even though it is like unintentionally his fault that all this happens. It's not like he's a shitty kid.
Oh my gosh! Before you read it, when Bridget is like covered in the blanket and she vomits, and it's like because it's through the blanket, it's like filtered, and it's just like goo. And I was like, man, that is wow! I love it. Ew.
I need to eat the glass to get the creepy crawlies in my tummies.
Oh, man, I love this franchise. So unnerving.
One last thing I did want to praise. We knew the cheese grater moment was in it because of the trailer, and I anticipated something like really over the top gory. Like once they pulled the cheese grater away, like pieces were gonna come off of the like muscle was gonna be exposed, that kind of thing. And like I thought it was actually relatively very realistic to what a cheese grater would do with full force like that, and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty impressive. I'm glad that they kind of nailed that.
And it still sucks.
Yeah.
It wasn't unrealistic. It was, if anything, it was worse.
I really love Deadites. They're some of my favorite demonic entities in film. I think they're always so much fun. They're really what makes things so, really what makes Evil Dead so unique are the Deadites.
Obviously, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad
they keep nailing it.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I'm sure the goal is to like take over the world or like merge the worlds of evil, but like they're just there to be shits. Like they don't have a goal. They're just like, I get to exist again. I'm gonna ruin your life. Like they're just evil, and that's fun. Like they don't have to have a goal. They're just here to mess with you, and that's awful.
It would be interesting to know what that world is when they actually succeed, and they're like, "Oh,
what do we do now? We're bored."
Okay, shall we book club?
Can I rate it?
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's a 9.
3 9s and a 9.5.